Hello everyone, in front of the file out here talking about Intrepid Stand, the augment that was recently nerfed for Styanax. I know this video is a little late, sorry. This video is going to be talking about the nerf to Styanax's augment Intrepid Stand. Is the augment still good? How it was before, what it is now, and why they did that. I'll be showing a clip of how it worked previously, or the silly numbers you could get to, and then I'll be showing you in the simulacrum right now how it functions currently. The thing about Intrepid Stand also is that this video will also be kind of a prerequisite, I guess, for two other videos that I'm going to be releasing in the future about Styanax. One is going to be a full build on Styanax, showing my final build. I have 7 Foreman in one and full Archon shards in him, as well as a guide about how everything works for Styanax. I will be explaining his abilities a little bit in here, but I will not be going fully in depth like the guide. If you want to skip to the end of this video just to see the overview on what I think of the album, you're welcome to. I understand that not everyone wants to watch a 10 or 15 minute video to see, or however long this video will be. But if you do watch the whole video, it will help me a lot and I appreciate it. It makes me look better for the YouTube algorithm. That being said, let's get into it. So first off, the patch notes. So this is the Overguard changes. As you can see, they did do a few things. First off, they did make Overguard protect you against Xmas slow auras now. The Arctic Xmas, so they originally would slow you down when you got near them with your guns, melee, movement, all that. That now is no longer affecting you if you are in Overguard or under Overguard. Now, the nerf with Styanax's Intrepid Stand is that it's now capped at 15,000, but that was with 100% ability strength, meaning that more ability strength will give you a higher cap, but lower ability strength will give you a lower cap. So it does kind of, I feel, yeah, I'll say that in the end, but it does kind of make you want to build a lot more power strength if you want a larger cap. Now, they have changed Frost Augment as well with this, so it now caps at 15,000, and just like Styanax's, scales with ability strength. And you also can just scale it up with each cast instead of replacing it. Now, the reason they nerfed this is because of, outside of maintaining the status quo, excluding Rhino's arm skin, which requires skillful timing to scale, the augment allowed for infinite amounts of Overguard to be stacked effortlessly and quickly, which could trivialize challenging content and limit future design space. The survivability and team support element that players have been enjoying in Styanax is still preserved, just as the more practical levels that encourage more dynamic play. So yeah, basically they nerfed it because it was too good. Let me show you a video right now. This is me in an arbitration. So arbitrations give you a buff to one specific Warframe. The Warframe that actually had the buff for this mission was Styanax, which is why I chose it, which is why I have 4 million Overguard in 40 minutes. The augment was broken, but not that broken. So yeah, this is solely because of the arbitration increasing his strength a lot. So with that being said, let's go back to the simulacrum, and here's the actual build. This is not the final build that I intend to show off. This is kind of a build on secondary Styanax, so if you're curious, I do have two. I'm not lying. In this build, he has a base 224% power strength. Now, if you activate Archon Intensify and heal yourself in the build, you get an added 30% ability strength, which will put you at 254. And then Molt Augmented, which gives you 0.24% ability strength on a kill, stacks up 250 times. That's, I think, 60% power strength, if I remember what someone told me correctly. So at the end, this build should be about 314% power strength. Now, Styanax's 2 does heal him. So when you hit enemies in kind of a cone in front of you, it strips shields and armor from enemies, and it does scale with power strength, so you can get 100% defense reduction, and it does heal you. I think it heals you per enemy hit. His 3 gives you energy just per second while the ability is active, and it gives you shields to you and squad mates when you kill an enemy. And then his 4 is the entire point of this video. Final stand, where you throw a bunch of javelins. Now, each javelin Restore gives you Overguard, gives you 134 in this build before Archon Intensify is procced or augmented. And that also is the Overguard cap of 33,000 with this build before any of those added bonuses. So yes, you still can get a decent sized Overguard. Also with this one I'm not going to be using in this video, but you pretty much just throw a javelin. If it hits an enemy, it kind of turns into Valbon's form, pulls enemies nearby, but I'm not going to be using this in video. I'm not going to be using his 2. I'll mainly be using his 3 and 4. Now, something to keep in mind about his 4 is this. You can only activate it once while in the air, and then after that, you have to leave the air to use it again. So if I use it right here real quick, I cannot use it until I hit the ground again. That is one of the original nerfs they gave to Styanax. I forgot what the other nerfs were, but they did give several nerfs to Styanax to my knowledge. So with that being said, let me spawn some enemies. My voice may sound a little different because I did change some filters. Hopefully it sounds better in this part of the video, not worse. So we are going to be spawning enemies from Steel Path. Steel Path enemies have more armor, more health, and they deal more damage. I'm also going to have a few Xmas units so you can kind of see what Overguard also does. So Overguard does a few things. First off, it makes you immune to immune to status effects, and it also gives you an invulnerability when Overguard hits 0. So shields kind of do the same thing, but with the becoming invincible when you run out of them, but they do not make you immune to the nullifier bubbles. So if I stand in this, can I get one actually? See, immune. That is something that the Overguard allows you to have. It gives you an immunity to it so you no longer have to worry about them. It is really helpful. It gives you immunities to toxin, viral, pretty much everything. If an enemy pulls you, it's supposed to grab you. Those infested units that will latch onto you and take your energy no longer works when you have the Overguard augment on. And as you can see, I got that 0.5 second vulnerability whenever and ever energy. That is kind of a big problem with Styanax is for. You know, unless you have a very, very efficient build, you do run out of energy pretty quickly. And also the whole not being able to spam your 4 while in the air does kind of balance out the augment a little bit in my opinion. Because you cannot just constantly jump in. And you do need to keep distance against enemies, so whereas it is fun, you do have to have a certain level of distance from enemies, otherwise your Overguard does get shredded. Because unlike shields, where adaptation works and other damage reductions, Overguard does not gain any type of damage reduction from Aviator, I think it's called, or adaptation. I've dealt with these enemies enough. I want to show off one more thing with Overguard. This has not changed. There's still one enemy that is immune to, or one enemy that still can do stuff to you with Overguard on. That is worded weirdly, but you know what I mean. So Nox units are still immune to it. Hold on. So if we go over here and we use my 4, you're going to see how much slower my 4 takes to cast the more nullifier, the more Nox stuff I get on me. So Noxes are kind of the one balance to this. Thankfully, you tend not to run into a lot of Noxes in the same area, but they do actually still slow you in your 4, even with Overguard on. As you can see, their toxin procs do not hurt me, they just damage the Overguard, instead of usually going straight through shields to health, which is a really nice bonus that they have. But yeah, that is the Overguard nerf. Personally, I think Intrepid stand is still a good augment. I do not think it was necessary to nerf it. I understand that they wanted to keep it from being an infinite gain, but I feel it's already kind of balanced in the fact that you cannot just infinitely spam your 4 in the air, because you do need to touch the ground after casting your 4, otherwise you cannot cast your 4 again. And also because enemies do deal so much damage as you move on throughout levels, that the gains through Intrepid stand on Overguard per javelin hit. Whereas yes, it is a lot. Once you hit a certain point, that 134 per enemy hit is not going to be enough to sustain you. And yes, the invulnerability when it drains to 0 will keep you alive if you're spamming it reliantly enough, but still. I do not think the nerf was necessary, but I do think it is still a good augment. It is still going to be very powerful. I do think that once you hit a certain level, you are going to notice that the overguard you gained up from enemies is going to start draining, because again, the overguard has a cap on what you gain and a cap on how much it can have entirely, whereas enemy damage will constantly increase until it hits 9999 the levels. So they will definitely outdamage you. Otherwise, I love the augment. I think it is great. It has put Styanax in such a strong survivability. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. If there's some other build you want to see or type of video, feel free to suggest it down in the comments. Tell me what you think of the augment. Do you like the nerfs? Do you agree with them? Do you wish they did not nerf it and they just left it the meme? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Thank you so much for being here, and as usual, take care all. Peace. Have a great day.